Good morning. Thank you for joining me for today's video. My name is Tracy Held. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Melbourne in Australia. Now I've got something fun to share with you today, but before I show you what we're going to do, I'm going to give you the backstory to how I've come up with the idea. So I'm going to share some of my sort of thought and design processes with you, and then I'll show you what we're going to make. So let's get to my story. I went and I got one of the kits that's available at the moment, and that is this, if I can get the name right, the Christmas gifting kit. Okay, so this is a really fun kit, and what it makes is your tags. So you've got the 3 different designs that come in the kit, but then it also has a gift card holder on the back. So I thought that was really fun. They're really easy, quick to make up. I'm not going to go through making them up. If you get them in the kit, it is an all-inclusive kit. So it comes with everything that you need to make the tags. You've got your stamps that come with it. So nice little sentiments and all the strips and pieces to assemble the tags. It's got your string, dimensionals, glue dots, a stamp pad. So this is one of those really nice kits where if you're going somewhere, you just put it in a box, take the whole box with you, and you're good to go. And then you pop out those little shapes in the middle of it, so you could use those to make another card for something else. All right, so we went with I really like these gift tags. But what if I decide that I don't want a Christmas one? So I went and recreated the tag for something that's not Christmas. And we've got my little gift tag on the back. Now, if you're wondering what paper that is because you're not sure about it, you would be correct. So let me show you. These are new products, which if you watched the Stampin' Up! World Card Making Day event, they were announced at that. This is a set that's coming in the new January to July 2023 mini catalogue, but we've got it on pre-order. So that's the stamp set, the framed floret stamp set. It also has matching dies, which I'm not using today. But you've got the frames, and then you've got your pieces that'll cut out the images from the stamp set and little leaves and frilly bits. Okay, so that's what's going to be in the mini catalogue. On the pre-order, we've got a little bit of extra things that we can get. So there's framed and festive stamp set, which has got some nice greetings, which I haven't played with yet, but I would imagine that some of those greetings would fit really nicely into those frames. And so that's only part of the pre-order, not going to be in the stamp set. We've also got this beautiful designer series paper. It's called Fitted Floret. Let's move this out the way for the moment. And you've got those images, okay, which are really pretty. It's the die set will coordinate with some of the images. I think it's that one in this paper. The others, if you want the flowers, you're going to need to fussy cut them. And then you've got the reverse side of the paper as well. Now, what I really like about this paper is that it looks to me like the reverse side coordinates really well with the front side on all of them. Sometimes I look at it and I think I wouldn't put those two together, but these work really nicely. And that's what we want here. You actually want the reverse side's going to show out, so you want something that you're happy with the front side. Okay, then the other things that I'm using today, we're using the mini pocket envelope die. So that's what I'm using to make the pocket on the back. The sentiment over here is from this little rectangular die in the mini pocket dies, and I've cut my circle once again out of that third smallest stylish shapes die. Okay, so that's the backstory, and what we're going to do now is actually make a tag that's not from the kit, that you can use for whatever occasion you like, and using whatever paper you like. So there is a little bit of measuring and cutting to get things right, but it's not that difficult. Okay, so I'm starting with a piece of cardstock. Let's just get my measurements here so that I can give it to you, which is 12.5 by 9 centimeters, which would be 5 by 3.5 inches. And I've got a piece of Designer Series paper that's the same size, exactly the same size. And we're going to glue the Designer Series paper onto the card. So go lightly with your glue because you don't want it like coming out and making everything gluey, but you want to go quite close to the edge because we're going to be matching this exactly. Okay. So, and if we've cut it accurately, that should be exactly the same size. If it isn't, you can always just trim off a slight edge. Now, to get that shape, we're going to do some cutting and measure first, then cut. So from my corners, I'm marking 2.5 centimeters in across the top, okay, on both sides. And yeah, this time I'm doing it with a ruler, not trying to do it on my paper trimmer and then wondering why that's not going to work. And again, from each of the corner, we're going to mark 2 centimeters down. So if you're working in inches, that would be 1 inch across and 3/4 of an inch down. I was using this yesterday and I've put the scoring blade on the wrong side. I can't work with it on that side. Okay, now we're going to cut. Oops. Obviously been doing a lot of cutting in here with little fine pieces. Okay, that's out of the way. I'll clean it out later. So we're going to cut from each of those marks. Okay, just slicing off the corners. And that's giving me the shape of my tag. Okay, so that wasn't too difficult. Then I've got my mini pocket cut out. Now I'm going to cut the corners here and cut that on the diagonal. You don't have to do that if you don't want to. So here's one that I did. This is retired DSP. It was from Celebration, so I was just playing with it. So that's using the mini pocket as it is. You can see it fits a gift card and you can get it out quite easily. Now, I didn't like that because the gift card then is straight across the top. It doesn't follow the shape of your tag, but if you like it like that, no reason why you can't do it like that. And then also, you know, you could leave it across the top, but I decided that it's easier and it's going to show a bit more of your gift card if you've got it cut on that diagonal. Now, the only thing with cutting it on the diagonal is, and I don't know if this is a big deal, you can see it's got this sort of jagged edge across the top. I don't know if you can see that on camera. Hopefully you can see that. So we are cutting that off, but I just decided that doesn't matter. All right, now, so what we're going to do here, I just fold up that tab so that I can see where I am. Okay. Can fold up that one as well. We're going to measure, and this is important. You want to be measuring on the smaller piece. Okay, don't measure on the big one because then you're going to cut it wrong. Don't ask me how I know that. So from the bottom here, we're measuring up 5 centimeters. Okay, and you could do all of your measurements and then cut, but I'm going to do each one as I go along because I tend to lose the marks if I'm not keeping a close eye on them. And this one, we're going to cut from that mark just to where my score line is on the corner over there. So you can actually feel as you cut where you're running out of paper. And I positioned that one slightly over, but that's okay. And then lastly, we're going to cut our tabs on the top, or our diagonals on the top. So I'm going to measure I think it's 1.5 centimeters in. Okay. And we're going 1 centimeter down. Does that look right? Okay, I think that that's my measurement because I didn't write that one down. So that's what we're going with now. If it's wrong, I'll correct it for you later. And again, and this is where I said I lose my marks, particularly on here where I've marked on the green. Okay, so we're cutting from, that's ridiculous. Why can't I see where I've marked? I can see the one but not the other. Okay, found them. So we're going again from mark to mark and from that mark to that mark. Okay, right, so there we go. That's all our cutting and measuring done. And now to make up my pocket, all I'm going to do is put some glue along those tabs. And fold it over along the score line. And we're just going to glue it down. Okay, so as easy as that. Now, when I did this one, I actually stuck my gift tag, well, my pocket on, and then decided that I didn't like all the white around it. So I then went and tried to do my stamping around it. So learning from that mistake, we're not going to do our stamping afterwards. We're going to do our stamping first. And I just need something to stamp on. I thought I had a bit of grid paper lying here, but I must have thrown it out because it was too dirty. So, like I said, I used the smaller stamps here because I was trying to stamp around the pocket. But now, because I've decided to be intelligent and do my stamping first before I stick the pocket, I'm going to use this bigger floral stamp. So that's got flowers and leaves and everything. And yeah, you know, you probably will find that some of it is cut off, but that doesn't matter. You're going to put the pocket over it. But it's keeping our stamping nice. I mean, it's stamped off the edge anyway. Let's put some at the top here. And if you wanted to, you could take some of your other little stamps and just fill in, you know, in the gaps here, if you feel like you don't want too much white or any white at all, depending on how much you want to stamp. Alright, so that's our stamping done. And now I'm going to stick my little pocket on. So this pocket is a little pocket. It is quite little, but it will fit a gift card very comfortably. And just trying to eyeball that it's roughly in the middle and straight. You could stick it right at the top if you want. I'm going to just leave that tiny little gap. And what do you think? That one looks better with the flowers, more flowers stamped rather than me trying to fit them in between. But like I say, don't tell anybody if they look at it, and they won't know that there was a mistake. Alright, so now what I'm going to do, and I'm going to have to do this off camera, you're going to have to bear with me for 1 minute just because my this tag is just too wide for the mini stamp cut and emboss machine, and I don't really want to bring my big one in because it's just going to knock things and get in the way. But with this mini pocket, it's got this tiny little die over here which will make a hole. Okay, so I must admit I haven't played with it. I think that that's going to make a bit of a slit. I haven't tried it yet, but all that I'm going to do is place that like that and run that through my cut and emboss machine so that it makes a hole. So bear with me 1 second and let's just go and make our hole over here. Alright, I don't usually like going off camera and leaving blank space for you to watch, but sometimes it's just necessary. So make sure that you put that little die back because that's going to be one that's really easy to lose because it is so little. And it will actually cut through both layers, the DSP and the cardstock. You just need to give it a little poke and push it out. Okay, so now that we've got that done, I've stamped my sentiment. So that was from that framed floret set for a special person on a special day. I think that that's a really nice sentiment for a birthday or just for no good reason at all, just to give somebody a little present. And I really like the font of that. Don't you like the font? I think that I'm going to have lots of fun with this stamp set. So because the DSP here is so florally and so pretty, I'm not doing anything else. If you're using plainer DSP, you could sort of, you know, cut out some flowers and stick them on, or you know, do whatever you want to decorate the front, but I'm going to just leave it plain and let the DSP talk for itself. So we're just going to stick that on in the middle, and I've got my glossy dots assortment here, so I'm going to take a couple of these blue, I'm using the little ones. You could use the bigger ones if you wanted to. Just want that a little bit lower. There we go. Now, for my circle over here, it's the ones in the kit. You can see, you know, they originally used, you know, there's enjoy, with love, so there's a whole lot of different ones, but I like that to from, because I think you can sort of write your name on it, and because I'm not leaving any space here that you could put a message, I'm going with the to from. Now I am using that stamp set from the kit. I was trying to have a look yesterday, and in the set with the teacups there is a to from. I didn't actually stamp it. I think that it may be a little bit small. We can stamp, well, I'll stamp it and have a look at that, but this one works nicely. Stamp it sort of towards the top so that you've got time to write your from at the bottom. If you stamp it too close, you're not going to be able to get that. And just a little bit of glue here. So remember, you only want glue along the bottom, because otherwise you're going to stick your pocket closed. And I always say I love circles, because you just turn the circle to get your stamping straight, so it doesn't matter how crooked you stamp the stamping, it's going to come straight. And lastly, I'm using some of this double stitched ribbon, so you can cut it as long as you like. It does fray a little bit when you're pushing it through, so cut it at an angle so that you've got a point to push through. And like I say, when I did that one, it did fray a little bit when I pulled it through, but then I just trimmed the frayed edges off, and if you're not yanking on it, it's going to be fine. Don't pull too hard here, because otherwise you will rip through, so you want to, does this sound stupid? Pull gently. Okay, and those don't look too bad, they didn't fray too badly, but we can just trim off the fuzzy edges. And there we go, we have a gift card holder which looks pretty similar to the ones from the kit. Okay, and you can use them for any occasion. So like I said, these are really nice if you want Christmas ones. It then of course also gives you the stamp set that you've got the to from, but you can use whatever sentiment you like on that little one. Now this is going to be available, when I say this I mean the Flowering Florets stamp set, extra set, DSP is going to be available to order from the 4th of November. There is also embellishments that come with it, which are like swirly little embellishments. Now unfortunately they weren't available in Australia when I ordered this, so I don't have them to show you. In the picture it looks like they're going to be really nice. They're gold embellishments with swirls and things on them, so I'll get that once they're available again. I probably should have waited to order it, but I really wanted to see what it looked like in the real. So if you're planning on giving gift cards, this is a nice way of doing it. I think anybody would be happy to get one of those, and like I said, if you've got your gift card, it's just going to, this one's a pretty boring one actually because it's so white, but it will fit in there and you'll be able to see it. Right, so I hope that you've enjoyed this video. I hope that you're going to go and make some of these gift card tags. If you do, please post them to my page so that I can see what you're doing and what different colors and combinations of DSP you're coming up with. Have a good week. If you're anywhere in Australia, we've got New South Wales is being drenched at the moment, so stay safe and don't drive into any deep water. And I will see you at the same time, same place next week. Until then, have a good week. Bye.